Hi, I'm Eric Dewey from the Socially Awkward Studios, Science and Beer, and Her Majesty's Secret Podcast, and you're listening to another proud presentation of the Four-Eyed Radio Network. Check out more shows at foureyedradio.com.
It's your good pal, Steve-O from the Four-Eyed Radio Network. I'm here to talk to you about a wonderful designer we all know, Revenge Lover. Illustrates and designs that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, please visit revengelover.com. And just do yourself a favor and tell him Steve-O sent you. I know it really doesn't count for anything, but, I mean, come on. Who are you gonna trust? You gonna trust somebody else? No, you're gonna trust me, Steve-O. Because, face it, I'm awesome.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. Another week of Appropriately Inappropriate, episode 103. My name is Kevin Elliott. I am one of your two co-hosts. Let's see, Nancy will not be in the studio today for this episode. She is busy with family stuff. Again, guys, she has a huge family. So, family stuff's going on. You gotta be there. Family stuff's important, number one. Let's see, hope you enjoyed last week's episode with guest co-host Michael Turner, and then guests, we had Bill Laskowski and Chris Gillespie, told some cool stories, we had a lot of fun, and actually got to talk sports. I was super stoked for that. And let's see, this week, no guest co-host, so it's just me, and then I've got Terese Ciluffo and Kerrilynn Gallagher. Terese has been on the show before. We had a really cool interview with her, so you can go back and listen to that. Previous episode, she was a great guest, so I'm super stoked to have her back in. Kerrilynn Gallagher is new. We haven't had her on the show before, but she's super funny, great female comedian. I shouldn't say that. She's just a great comedian, and she happens to be female. So she's in. We're going to be just talking a lot, telling some stories, going over bits like we do. So hope you enjoy it. I am being invaded by women this week, and I'm not complaining about it at all. Super stoked for this one, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for listening.
Appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate.
Like that to me, how can I know them if we don't know anybody?
It might be like some girl you gave your number to, or have her number in your phone, because that'll match up by the numbers you have in your phone as well.
Really?
Because I've seen guys I met in a bar and their number is in my phone, and I'm like, oh god, gross, and then I block them so they can't.
I do that too. Yeah. You know, when I scroll through, and you know how it's got the people you may know on Facebook, and if I continue to see the same person over and over again, I'm just like, I don't even want to look at your face, dude. I'm crossing you off. I don't ever want to be friends with you. Yeah. And it'll even say 28 mutual friends, and I'm like, but I still don't know you, and your face is bugging me, so I don't want to know you at all.
I wonder if it matches friends based on mutual websites that y'all visit.
Oh, that'd be the worst, dude.
That's what,
fucking awful.
Everything you do is fucking tracked on the internet. I'll tell you from my job. Programmatic advertising drops cookies on you and tracks you and then makes a profile for you. And, that's how we target ads.
What do you mean?
So we target ads by, it could be, people over 50 that own a home that are single, or people 20 to 30 that listen to music on multiple devices on the weekend. You can literally target people because every website and Google drops cookies on you, and they track what you do online.
What's a cookie mean?
It's a code that they drop into your computer to track your activities online. So they can see what websites you're visiting, when you fill, how old you are, when you're filling stuff out. They can, they can literally get you down to a demographic, a tiny demographic, and only target ads. And that's how people don't waste money on, it used to be whatever you paid for, everyone would see the same ad when they go to that page or whatever. And now it's targeted directly to you.
Weird.
So, if you Google Chevy a lot, for example, because that's my client, it'll show you Chevy ads because you've already, or if you're Googling cars.
Just go to a random website, and then it'll that's the pop-up ads that you see on the side? That's so weird.
Yeah.
I
it
thought that was
tracks
ad
everything
sales,
you
though.
do.
Like, companies would call up.
Well, yeah, that's how they used to do it, but it's so much, it wastes so much money because it could be an ad for, you know, I don't know, something for an old person and you're 20 years old, you're never going to click on that. They're just wasting their money. And especially when you're doing pay-per-click, if someone accidentally clicks on it and they have no interest in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're targeting to people that want your product.
Do you ever click on those ads?
I don't, but they get clicks. I mean, I track the
Yeah, old
metrics.
people, they just don't know what they're doing.
I track the metrics.
Sorry, I'm just...
It's okay.
It's MLB trade deadline. I gotta keep up with the
Oh
Dodgers.
my
I,
God.
am-
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, Kerrilynn's a
Oh,
huge
man.
Phillies fan.
Oh, man. Last night was rough. Last night was fucking rough. I don't think Cole Hamels is going to look good in a cowboy hat. He's a
No.
fucking liberal California boy, but we'll see how it goes down there for him.
I thought he was coming to the Dodgers, but the Dodgers pulled off some weird 13-player trade.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
how it
kind of
always
got
is.
shit back for it. It's like, dude, you're the Dodgers. Make a big deal.
Yeah, you know, it'll be one of those things where it helps the farm systems in either case, and you might not get someone whose name you recognize, but yeah, I shed a couple tears.
Are the Phillies the worst team in baseball?
Yes, sir, they are.
Are they really?
Yes, sir, they are. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much.
Like, they were so bad that Ryan Sandberg was just like, I quit.
Yeah.
He just quit.
that's-
He's like, I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
I might as well just quit ahead of time.
I think they're going to have the fanatic starting to just play any position he wants to on any fucking
Guy's a
given day.
beast.
Yeah, and just pay him in Twinkies. He's fucking cheap. He could seriously outbat any one of those guys right now. I'm actually pro fanatic to play first base, shortstop, left field, whatever. I would contribute to the Twinkie paycheck as well.
Before we go any further, guys, introduce yourselves, promote everything, social media, shows, whatever you got.
I didn't even know we started.
Yeah.
You didn't say, like, welcome to the show or anything. I thought we were just talking.
The intros, put them before.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Terese Ciluffo. You can follow me on Twitter at thatgirlTherese, Terese, and on Instagram the same. And let's see, what shows do I have coming up? I am on the Switch Show at Crescent Ballroom. Let's see what day this is. I think it's September 2nd, I believe. And I have a show coming up on the 21st in the Taffy Room at Stand Up Scottsdale, where some of my friends that write for Cracked are going to come out from LA and, you know, do the show.
Cool, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
it'll
on the
be fun.
22nd. Are you on the 22nd show, too?
No.
All right.
I'm not cool enough.
No, it's neither are. I don't know.
I don't even know.
I'm Kerrilynn Gallagher. I won the Stand Up Scottsdale Showcase last night, so I I was one of the winners. I should preface that. One of the winners. So I'll have a couple gigs coming up in the next couple weekends at the club. So you could follow me on my Twitter account, CareGal14. The picture is of a cat wearing a pink wig, so if you don't see me right away, you're probably at the right place.
Wait,
so.
your Twitter name is literally CareGal.
CareGal
14.
14.
That's like worse than Jogan Jemmy 25.
25.
14.
I never thought anyone would beat Jogan Jemmy 25.
It's
Joe's
bad.
is pretty bad, but
14,
man.
14 was my jersey number, so I just thought, yeah, this is like really cool. I'll just like put that there.
I'm trying to
That's
find
how
you.
that is.
Oh, there you are, dude.
Yeah.
Woo!
Probably haven't tweeted in a while,
You're
but
a really sexy cat.
I'll start tweeting.
You have the Phillies as your little photo, dude. You're a lobster in your picture.
Oh, wait, am I doing?
Yeah. You're wearing a
Oh
lobster.
no! That's when I dressed up as from SNL Digital Shorts Laser Cats. That was my Halloween costume a couple years ago. So I have
Great
a
costume,
laser
Kerrilynn.
cat. I was like, who cares about Halloween once you're like over the age of 25? So I was like, laser cats, that's awesome.
Over the age of 25. I was over Halloween when I was like 13.
Oh, really?
But I was cool as fuck, dude. You know what I mean? I was just doing drugs and drinking alcohol and just slinging rocks. I don't even know what that means.
I could not have been in a more opposite
No, I
situation.
wasn't
I know.
like
I
that
was
at
like
all.
such a.
I didn't do that at all. But you know what? I think I stopped dressing up after elementary school.
Okay.
I think so. But now my son is like, he loves Halloween, so we're back at it again.
Do you guys ever dress up, like, do costumes together?
Not anymore. When he was a baby, his first Halloween, I was Peter Griffin and he was Stewie.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. He still laughs about it to this day.
That's awesome.
He's really proud of that one. But yeah, his costumes lately have just been shitty.
Yeah.
First of all, the first ones he picks are the most expensive things in the world. I'm like, dude, it's for 4 hours. I'm
my
not
gosh.
paying $250 for your costume. And so then he settles for something less, thank God, every time.
My mother used to make me and my brother homemade Halloween costumes every year.
Oh no, like
but
a
for
sheet
me,
with the eyes cut out?
no, like fucking these amazing costumes because she wanted us to win contests. Like this is how much of
Did she
like kind
enter
of
you in contests?
yes, absolutely. Like every contest we had to go to. So mine were always what I wanted to be. Like it was a Disney princess. Like she made me a really badass Ariel costume and really badass Princess Leia costumes and stuff. Like this is it was whatever I wanted to be.
Wow.
She didn't force me. But my younger brother, she just made him whatever she thought would win the contest. So like one year he was like a boy in a hot air balloon. Like what 5-year-old wants to be a boy in a hot air balloon for Halloween? In like a box and like a bird costume that she made out of like paper mache and cardboard and like cut out like
You know
paper.
what this sounds like?
It was
She was creating
ridiculous.
the movie Up before it ever came out. That's what she was doing. He was every sketch from that movie growing up.
And he was a robot, I think, too, that was like out of like obviously, and he would win every year. And he like didn't even care. He was just like, okay, like I'll wear this. And it's like, that's not what you want to be for Halloween. Like stand up for yourself.
Did he ever say
bro.
what he wanted to be? And your mom was like, nah, I can't make
I
that.
think probably. I think the coolest one though was one year he was a headless man, so she built like a pair of shoulders, and then he had like and like arms, and then like somehow his hands, like so he had to walk around with his hands like on his face all
Oh,
night because like
no.
it was.
Well, what do you remember your costumes, Kerrilynn?
Oh man, I was such a tomboy. I would just go into my brother's closets and wear their ice hockey clothes or their baseball uniforms, and it was for most of my childhood, it was pretty awful because I just got made fun of all the time because of how I dressed. People probably thought every day was Halloween because I was a girl but looked like. I mean, I could honestly have been like the fourth member of Hanson, which is not,
You do look like a
which is
Hanson brother.
not
You
the
do.
look you want when you're a girl at 11. And I did not do myself any favors. Like Monday through Thursday, I would wear I would either wear an and one t-shirt
Are you fucking
or a
kidding
no
me?
fear t-shirt.
Back off a little bit from the mic. A little bit.
Back
Back
away.
off a little bit, yeah.
So I would wear an and one t-shirt or a no fear t-shirt every day with sayings
Oh,
like,
dude,
it doesn't
No
hurt
Fear
till
was
the
my shit.
bone shows. No one ever drowned in sweat. With Umbro shorts.
Why are you doing this to
Umbro
yourself?
shorts.
Oh my god.
And then my oldest brother's wrestling shoes, because 6 years apart, and he was 6 foot at the time, so I was in 7th grade, maybe like 5 feet. So I just every day was Halloween for me.
Oh my
every day.
God.
But Fridays I reserved my big dog T-shirts for Fridays.
Oh my god!
that was.
I wear Jenko jeans, like
Oh
guy
my God.
ones. Yeah,
That's
totally.
worse.
You were
I
cooler than
totally
me.
did.
No, that's worse.
I know it's bad. I know. I've always kind of hung out with guys, and if those were what my guy friends were wearing, I was like,
You
oh,
need
I'm
to back
gonna
off
be
a little bit too.
I'm
Or
gonna
just
be
pull the mic
cool.
away. That mic is hot today. I don't know why.
Well,
picking
because
up
I'm
everything.
sitting here.
Okay, that was
Hello.
super douchey. So,
I was joking.
Kerrilynn, you're from Philadelphia?
Yeah, a suburb
Born
right
and
outside of
raised?
Philly. Born and raised.
No way.
Yeah.
What was that like?
East Coast lifestyle was pretty cool. Sometimes I miss it. I like that my town lived, breathed, and died for Penn State football, the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, the 76ers. There's a sense of community and camaraderie, and you already feel part of a team when you're young. I actually get goosebumps thinking about it.
Really?
Yeah, we used to have season tickets, and we'll go to the vet for the Eagles and Phillies games. And
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was such an awesome childhood, other than like getting beat up on many occasions.
Really?
Yeah, I got roughed up. And then, well, I mean, Terese, you probably can attest to this. Just being young, like, girls are awful.
Yeah.
They don't
absolutely.
beat you up. They like emotionally scar you.
Yes, exactly.
Like, deep-rooted things. But that was the nice thing about where I lived is, even though my school, especially like middle school, was like really weird, there was always something to do. Like winter, spring, summer, fall, there was always a sport to play. There was always a team to be a part of. So even if school sucked, like there's an activity you can do.
Even in the snowy winter.
Totally. Ice hockey, sledding.
That's not a sport.
You guys don't know about sledding, though.
I know about
We
sledding.
know about
I lived
sledding.
on the East Coast for like 6 years.
Oh, shit. Okay, so you know. Yeah. So there's
Sledding's
always something to
awesome.
do. Like, that's what I liked about it.
Did you have your own sled?
Fuck yeah. Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry, I meant, did you have your own
Yeah.
luge? I didn't know. I don't know what it's called. I didn't know.
We would, like, build
the proper
ramps.
Were you on a bobsled team? Did your high school have that?
Yeah. Yeah, we would, no, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool, dude. So, like, you were there during the Allen Iverson days, huh?
AI, yeah, when they went to the championship in 2001 against
Yeah.
the Lakers. And AI in that game one in Philly just fucking who did he step over? Kobe?
Tyronn Lue.
Yes, just stepped over him. I remember going to school the next day. I think I was like a sophomore in high school. And people were like losing their shit. Like, we're going to fucking win this. Like, AI is going to take it home. And I remember thinking, meh. One guy versus 5 amazing players on the Lakers.
Yeah,
Probably
that's really
not
what
so
it was,
much.
too.
Yeah, we had one guy versus 5. So
Did you see the Allen Iverson documentary?
no,
It's new. Showtime put it out. It's really cool,
Oh, I will
actually.
definitely check that out.
They, and part of it, they break down the, we're talking about practice speech
yeah,
and how the media totally skewed it to where that's what he was talking about, but he wasn't at all.
yeah,
Like, he wasn't saying, dude, we're fucking... I'm not going to practice. It wasn't him saying, yeah, I'm not going to practice, dude. I'm a great player. It was, my best friend got murdered 2 days ago, and we're talking literally about practice when life just happened. Like, this is life. And you're going to sit here and ask me questions about fucking practice? Like, it was totally skewed, and it was so interesting to know that now, all these years later.
I'd be interested to see that just as a Philadelphia fan in general, because it is true. We really are the hardest on our own guys and gals in our city. And a lot of times we kind of realize how shitty we are once people leave. Like when J-Roll left and he wrote an open letter to the city of Philadelphia, you kind of take a step back and you're like, fuck, man, we're such assholes. Why are we such fucking assholes all the time? But, you know, we love our teams and we expect them to do great, and we're there every night. Like, when I lived in Pennsylvania, every night game, 7:05 start, they were on in my family room growing up. And
No, that's so cool.
Yeah, we gave them all of our love, and we just expected everything back from them. And we never took into consideration that some of these guys are from New York, and they're actually grew up Yankees fans or Mets fans, or they're from Baton Rouge, and they love LSU football, and they love, you know, they don't love the Eagles, they love the Saints. So yeah, you learn a lot, and like I said, like I loved growing up in that area, and it was
Damn, dude, that's
awesome.
so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Terese, sports?
I like sports. I like all the sports. Slam dunk. No, I do watch sports.
Did you play sports? Kerrilynn, you played sports growing up. Did you play sports growing up, Terese?
No, I dance. So I, you know, in high school, I danced like 8 hours a day after school, and I went to a performing arts high school and went to Bell, Arizona for like 3 hours in the afternoon. So
Damn, that's
pretty
vigorous.
much, yes, it was a lot. Pretty much my whole entire life was taken up by dance, and I didn't really have parents that were into sports when I was a kid, but it was always something I kind of wanted to be into.
Yeah.
And then as I became an adult, I learned about, you know, slam dunks and such things. No, I don't. That's actually basketball is probably my least favorite sport to watch. Actually, when I was a kid, I used to love to go to Phoenix Suns games. I remember that. But yeah, I really like football. I like college football.
Way better than the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. They're so passionate, and I love. I actually really got into it. I had an ex-boyfriend that was a Gators fan, and I went to the BCS with him that year, and it was when Tim
cool.
Tebow was on the team, and like it was just it was the most amazing experience, and I was like, I will never stop watching college football.
What was
It's
that
so
look
awesome.
for, Kerrilynn?
No, I love the SEC. I love.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I really like baseball as well. So
Baseball's so awesome.
I love baseball. I
hate
love
that
going to
people
baseball
don't like
games.
It bothers me.
I know. I think it's the best. I love baseball
And it's
so
so
much.
fun to go to. Like,
I know.
Every sport is fun to go to. Way better than sitting there watching on TV. But baseball is like, you can sit and relax and just enjoy a game. Like, just literally, just enjoy it. And it's, oh my God, my son and I go and to like Diamondbacks games. We get tickets and we go 3 hours early and go sit in the outfield when they do batting practice. We just snag like home runs.
That's awesome.
It's the best. And the game starts and we're like, let's just sit in and relax now. We've been here for 3 hours already. And then we're like,
I'm like
maybe we should
a
leave.
child at baseball games, I think. Like the last time, well, not the last time I went to a Diamondbacks game. But one time recently, I was sitting, there was like no one there. And I sat behind like the dugout, and
Those are the best
the
seats.
Diamondbacks first base coach threw me a baseball. Like I really wanted a baseball, and he was only throwing them to kids. And he was kind of like, "Okay, weird lady that wants this baseball, you can have it. Like you clearly really want to. Like you're 12, you clearly really want this baseball." And I felt so cool. Like I was like, "You guys, he gave it to me. He gave me the first base coach. Totally gave me a baseball. You guys, I'm so look, it's grass stained. It was used. Look how cool this is." I thought I was so cool, and he was definitely like, "You're a huge fucking weirdo."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was thinking, dude, how many baseballs do they make? Because literally a ball hits the dirt and they just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Foul ball, gone. Like pregame, the batting practice, they're gone. Like they go through 1,000 balls a game every day in every stadium.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's still 1 million baseballs in the world. Do they just not stop? They print more baseballs than they do money, I feel like.
Probably.
Yeah.
They probably just should come down to Mexico and like let them have our secondhand baseball.
It is weird. I'm like, the ball just grazed the dirt. They're like, dude, new ball. What
Yeah.
prima donna fucking asshole. When you're in Little League, half the ball is just scraped off anyway.
Yeah.
That's how you get the good pitches. Like now the ball's going to move everywhere because who knows what the fuck this thing's doing.
Yeah.
But, all right, whatever. That's just my rant, so
I
deal
liked
with
it. I accept it. I don't refuse it.
Fucking asshole. All right, Palladino just sent me a message. Michael Palladino. Shout out to Michael Palladino.
Shout
Been
out
on
to
the
Michael
show a couple
Palladino.
times. He said, I can't wait to get to the show tonight and do my new naked lady black street magic joke.
Oh, it's
Fucking
so
asshole, dude.
It's so good.
Fucking asshole.
It's so good, Kevin.
For anybody, last night, I wrote this joke a long, long time ago, and Joe Gangemi and I meet every Wednesday and go over, like, material. And
Joe Gangemi 25.
Joe Gangemi, 25. He still won't change it. He knows how.
I didn't even know he
Wait,
could.
can
And then when
I
we
thought
told
you could only change your
oh
name
my god, she
above
didn't
it.
know either.
No, you can change the Twitter
your
handle.
Yeah.
As
But,
long
like-
as it's not taken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So Kerrigal14 could turn into something else.
yeah, cool.
Kerrilynn Gallagher, who knows?
She's like, I'm
if it's
going to
been
look
taken.
into that.
I'm gonna look into that.
So,
To-do list.
this kid's a dick. Yeah, I went up this joke I wrote a long time ago. I told it to Joe, and he was like, "Oh my god, can I do it?" And I said, "Yeah." I mean, I've told it once on stage. It got nothing, so I was like, "I'm just not going to tell it again."
How did that get nothing?
Because I didn't sell it at the end. The end, I was just kind of like, and then that was it. Because I thought that the joke just kind of sold itself. I don't know. So I was like, yeah, man, totally do it. So Joe goes up before me Wednesday nights, and he didn't do it. So I was like, I'll just do it at the end, throw it in, and if whatever, he can see it, and then he can do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm selling it to him anyways. He goes, how much? Like $50? I'm like, no, like $500, dude. I don't just sell fucking jokes for $50. And he was like, what? I'm like, all right, you're a good friend. $100. So anyways, the joke is I don't have sex a lot. So when I see a naked woman, I react the same way that black people do to street magic. And then I just like run all over the stage just going, oh shit, oh.
Did you see that?
Holy now that's magic. Now that is magic. I can't believe it. So yeah, and I hadn't done it, so I did it last night, and I didn't think it was very funny, but apparently other people did, and I'm getting shit from talking.
It was so funny. Yes. That's why people only give you shit about jokes if they're good jokes.
Yeah, but then so I got back to the mic, and I was just like, I don't know what to say, and I just walked off the stage. It's so weird those Wednesday nights. I never know how to close because I'm just working on new stuff, and none of it. Like, it was shitty last night, too, because I went up with, like, 3 jokes that I was going to try, but I wanted to get reads on all of them the same. So I would do one, and then I'd try and kill the crowd, which I did masterfully. And then I'd start the next one to get a new, like, the fresh read on it, kill the crowd, and then do it. And so then I did the last one. I was like, I should have just walked off the stage. I should have just ran off the stage. I was like, like going crazy and just ran off and ran outside and never came back.
You need to do that next time.
Be like, where did Kevin go? So weird, that one. Just ran away. It's mystical.
Yeah, so then I didn't know what to say. I was like, I just walked off. So bad. But anyways, when you were in Philly, comedy's great out there. Did you go to shows? Were you into comedy? Like, what happened?
No, because I left Philly when I was 18, and I went to ASU for 4 years, moved back, and I just, like, got caught up in my first job. And it's crazy, though. My first boss ever out of college when I was working in marketing, she was the winner of the Female Bud Light Comedian Award.
Really?
Like, in Atlantic City. And we had our first ever company-wide meeting at Helium Comedy Club.
I love that comedy club,
in Philadelphia.
Man. Yeah, I love it.
And I remember talking to her, and I was like, Suzanne, like, I think this is something I want to do. And she's like, well, you're young enough. Like, you should get into it. Let me know if you want any pointers. And then I just kind of got swallowed by corporate America and didn't really revisit it until I moved back out here when I was 25.
So what was your job when you went back to Philly?
I worked in marketing, so I did marketing for Stars Entertainment, the movie company.
Okay.
Which my stepdad works for. My stepdad is the president of Anchor Bay, which is a subsidiary.
Company.
Yeah.
This is so cool,
How crazy,
you two.
Right?
Look at you. Oh my
Shout out to Bill Clark, my awesome stepdad. Hope you met Kerrilynn one day because she's cool.
And
I should ask
apparently
him.
he used to come to our Philly office.
He did.
And we had a high-rise building in Philadelphia where I worked out of. There was only 6 of us, so he must have come in at some point. And we had to have crossed paths. Like, we had to have.
Yeah. He went to Philly. He went to the Troy, Michigan office a lot, which I was
yeah.
like, oh, God, that's going to be awful.
That sucks.
Yeah, that didn't last.
Business trips to Detroit are never the ideal business trip.
It's hard to fit a bulletproof vest in a carry-on. It takes up a lot of fucking room.
Yeah, no, I wear mine. And then I used to take it off when you go through the detectors and stuff. Like, what the fuck is this? I'm sorry, I'm going to Detroit. Here's my ticket. Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
My aunt calls it détour when she has to go there for work
no.
just to make it sound fancy. I'm like, no, it's like not okay. It's fucking ghetto. Just call it Detroit.
Detroit sucks.
It does.
So, all right, so you come out here then when you're 25. How old are you now?
30.
Okay, so you come out here and decide you want to do stand-up just when you come out? Like, why did you come out here in the first place? After college. I knew you came out here for college, but then when you came back.
I met a guy, and he was moving out here, and we're still together. He came out here for a job for Phoenix.
He's cool as shit, man.
Yeah,
Steve's
really
dope.
Cool. He's the best. And when I came out here, I mean, the biggest thing was I was talking to one of my buddies who was, I think, in San Diego or Chicago at the time. And it was right before I made the move to Phoenix. And I was like, listen, man, like, I've been writing a lot. Side note, I was in New Zealand for a while living there before I moved out to Phoenix.
How do you just skip over that? That's awesome.
But while I was in New Zealand, I did like a lot of like, you know, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back to corporate America? And I was like, fuck, man, I've always just like wanted to write. I love comedy. Like, I want to do it so bad. It's the only thing I've ever really liked. I've never done it. I need to just try it a couple times. And so I reached out to my friend who was I think he was in Chicago at the time. And he said, listen, write a couple jokes, get up on some open mics once you get settled in Phoenix. And the only thing I can ever tell you is just like, don't get up there drunk. Like, have half a beer or don't drink at all, and just go over new material, write all the time. And when I moved out to Phoenix in 2011 or 2010, late 2010, I went up a couple times at Papi Chulo's, that is where Howard Hughes used to host a couple of open mic nights.
Really?
This is like back in the day. Papi
that's
Chulo's
Speakeasy
restaurant.
now.
Yeah.
That's where Howard
that's
used to
right.
do the Speakeasy.
Yeah. So this is like, we're going on
That
like...
name's familiar, but
You're
I don't.
Poppy Speakeasy.
This is like...
Let me inform you.
Yeah, this is almost like 5 years ago, but I just didn't have the self-confidence. I only went up 3 times. I didn't really do that well. And I just was like, fuck it, I'll just focus on my career. And I did that.
And then you got back into it.
Yeah, because I quit coaching and I hit 30 and I was like, fuck, man, this itch will not go away. I'm taking antibiotics and it still won't fucking go away.
I'm self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. It still won't go away.
But like I just, once I hit 30, I was like, I'm just gonna work in my normal job in corporate America, and I'm gonna fucking do this, and I'm gonna give it a solid year and see what happens. And so that's
how
where
long
I
has
am.
it been?
I came back like as if I was even anything. I started in March of this year.
Okay.
So I have March of 2016 to really figure out if this is something I'm gonna seriously pursue, or if it'll just be a hobby.
And what do you think so far?
I really want to do it.
You should.
I genuinely love it. And my favorite part of it is like meeting people like Terese and meeting people like you, Kevin, and all these other people, especially here in the Phoenix comedy scene, are so fucking dope. Like everybody's totally down to just help you out and listen to what you're doing, and I just really like it.
It is like that your first year.
Yeah. And then how is it after that? When shit
Then you
gets
start
real.
seeing who your real friends are. No, it is. I'm shocked because when I first did stand-up, it was super clicky and everyone hated each other. So nobody wanted to help anyone because it was like, I'm not going to help you. You're going to get better than me. Fuck off.
Everybody is so supportive in the Phoenix Comedy Circle.
Yeah.
And
I'm so happy about it.
It's just, I mean, those are my best friends. I don't like really anybody but my comedy friends. You know what I mean? It's just who I prefer to be around.
You know what's weird? For me, because I was talking about, like, I haven't seen my friends that aren't comedians. I don't see them very often.
Right.
We don't talk all that often anymore. I mean, we talk a little. There's some that I still talk to pretty regularly, but we don't see each other because I'm either with my son or I'm working. And if they don't come to a show, then I'm it's not my fault. You work during the day, I work at night.
Yeah.
And it's like, because of that, it's not, it's kind of funny to say, but it's like all these comedians are my work friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're at work, and that's where we see each other, we hang out, and like dude, it's like people haven't become, I don't want to say they've replaced my other friends because they haven't, but I do talk to them more. I do hang out with my comedian friends more, but it's also a relatable thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was out of comedy, I related to my friends that weren't comedians anymore, like,
right.
Because it was just a regular kind of lifestyle. Comedy is just such a weird life to be in that only the people that do it can relate. It's a weird fraternity.
It is, but it's the best. Like,
yeah, it is the best.
I've never had so much fun in my entire life. Like, I look forward to every show. I look forward to seeing all my friends all the time, and I look forward to going up, and it's just, it fulfills me on a lot of different levels, I think. And I think that being able to be yourself, because you can around comedians, because we're all fucking weirdos. And I think for a long time in my life, just because I was like in the acting and everything, and it was always like about how I was trying to be, I don't know, not necessarily trying to be something that I'm not, but not necessarily being myself and allowing like the silly weird stuff to come out, and everyone in the comedy circle like just knows that's who I am, and it like likes me for it. I'm like, oh, people like me when I'm a fucking weirdo and like so bizarre, and they're like, you're so bizarre, I love it. Like, it's, you know, people accept it and they like it, and they, you know, I think really cherish my friendship a little bit, and it's nice. It's nice to be accepted by a group of people that you respect and admire.
It's cool. Like, our worst day of work is way better than everybody else's good day of work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we eat shit on stage. You get booed. Like, You know, but
Yeah,
but you
and
get
that's
off stage,
just-
you're like, dude, I just did something that I fucking love doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it wasn't receptive, and it feels bad. Like, it does. You're like, God damn it, man. But you turn back and you look at it and you're like, this is what I fucking love doing.
Right? Well, you love doing it. And also, the thing I was most afraid of, because I had wanted to do stand-up for years and years, but the thing I was most afraid of was feeling shitty after a shitty set or being embarrassed, because embarrassment is like the worst emotion that I can feel. Like, I obsess about it for a long time. If I do something that I think is embarrassing, I'll think about it and replay it in my head for like 2 days, and I'll think whoever saw it is just thinking about that for 2 days also, which is not logical at all. Like, that's how anxious I am about stuff. Like, I'm like, they're definitely, and then every time they see me for like a year, I'm like, they're definitely thinking about that one time I had a little too much to drink and I like said something weird. Like, you know, I go over it forever, and that's just, you know.
Like, some dude goes to his office, he's like, man, this girl I saw last night, she was so bad at stand-up. And then comes in the next day, I can't stop thinking about how shitty she was, guys.
Right, like, I think people, but you know, it's quite the opposite in this scene. Like, no, and I'm not even talking about stand-up, because I've actually never felt that with stand-up. If I don't have a great set, then it's fine. Like, everyone's still supportive, and they're like, whatever, like, you know, everybody gets it. And, you know, I've never, like, done anything unprofessional, like cried on stage or anything like that. You know, it's just, you know, you have a mediocre set, and that's whatever. And I've never overanalyzed like that with comedy like I do in real life. Like, I'm talking about, I would say something stupid to you, and I would be embarrassed about it and think that that's all you think. Like, you probably weren't even listening to me, let's be honest. Like, that's how hard I am on myself. And comedy is something that I'm kind of like just relaxed about, which is an awesome thing for me, being so anxious and stuff as I am.
And the cool thing too, like in comedy, the goal is like to be yourself on stage. So we go into a comedy club, we're like, cool, I can finally be myself around these people, but it's still, you're not yourself on stage. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
For the first while you go up there, you're just not. You write jokes that you think are funny, and you try and work them out, and you make a crowd laugh. It's like, oh, cool, I'm making the crowd laugh. But there is a piece, I know that there's a piece in everybody. It's like, but I just wasn't myself. I'm not totally fulfilled because I wasn't me.
That's what I've been trying to work on, is not thinking about my sets before I go up. I used to like look at them and I used to write them out word for word, and now it's more like, okay, here's the idea, this is what the punchline is. Let me not think about it beforehand so it comes out naturally, and it's just me talking. And the things that I'm writing about now, like as I've moved forward, are things that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
They're things that have meaning behind them, and there are things that I'm admitting that are not easy to admit, but I'm doing it because I know everybody thinks about these things, and I know everyone can relate whether they want to admit it or not. And I think that's where comedy comes from.
And that's what separates everybody. When you are yourself, there's nobody else that's like you.
Yeah.
You know, you can talk about the same premise, but if you're yourself, you're going to present it differently.
Right.
You're going to present it the way Terese will present it.
Right.
And I couldn't present it that way. We could do literally the same joke, and it'll come out differently.
Exactly.
And people will think it's funny one way or the other. I mean, or both, but you're yourself. And it's so funny that people listen to this who haven't done stand-up, and they're like, just fucking go up there and be yourself. Who cares? It's like, it's not, if it was that simple, dude, we'd all be crushing every fucking night.
I feel like when I first started, my biggest thing was I have good stage presence, obviously, because I've been acting for a long time. But I feel like I was using what I thought was like a comedy voice. Like I'd be hot, you know, and I don't, that's like the one thing that I try the hardest not to do. And I try to, cause sometimes I'll come up with new shit in the middle that like makes sense, and it'll end up being part of the joke, you know, and I try to say it different every time, and I try to just like go up and say it as myself rather than like, hey, hi, I'm Terese. I hope you enjoy my comedies. Like, that's ridiculous. I know. That's how I felt like in the
both of you are really new. So,
Yeah.
I mean, since March, and you've been since around then too, right?
Yeah, I think we did our first set the same night on You've Got the Goods.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, really cool to have that.
Yeah.
It's really
And I
great.
fucking love her. She's one of the best people I've ever
You're
met.
two
in
of the
my
coolest
life.
people in the
Terese
world.
is the shit.
Boom, son.
But so, Now, Kerrilynn, before we walked in, she had her bag, and you have like a file folder. Is that what's on the table right now?
Oh,
your
well,
file
I was gonna
folder
use
of
it as
jokes.
A coaster. I found a coaster.
You're not even using it as a coaster.
She has
I
a
found a
but she
coaster
found
after
a real
that.
one.
Okay. Hey,
She
all
didn't
right.
want to use
I'm
her
sorry.
writing.
I'm sorry.
That'd be polite. My mom might listen to this. I wanted to know that I'm actively looking for coasters.
Jesus. I didn't know things were so tight at home.
It's a normal conservative Pennsylvania family.
But do you, like I used to write, I've talked about this on the show a long time ago, but I used to write everything out word for word, and then I'd memorize it, and Kingsley does the same thing. Kingsley Amukamara writes it out and memorizes it, and then he goes up there, and he's been doing it long enough to where it doesn't come off super rehearsed. I mean, there's some people we see every night where it's like, dude, you're just reading a script. It's
Right.
so bad. But then I break off from that, and I don't write anything down anymore, really. I just go up with an idea and then keep doing it over and over again until it sticks on stage. But enough about me. Your writing, do you meticulously write, like, script-wise, everything down? Because, I mean, that folder's thick.
It is really thick.
Lots of good stuff in here.
This material's fucking gold.
It's pretty amazing. Might ship it to Amy Schumer. Just to get her opinion. It would probably cost $12 to ship it.
12 pounds. No, it's European.
Yeah.
She wrote it all in European.
Yeah, all European. So right now what I do is I never say it out loud until I'm up on stage, but I write down, as I'm thinking about something, I write down anything that comes to my mind, and then I kind of like look at how the bit is developing it, and then I'll write it out verbatim. So, you know, with a certain bit, I just run it out. I write it out verbatim how I'm going to say it. I look at it a couple of times, and then in my mind, I don't say verbatim what's off the piece of paper. I more see it as like flow charts with easy exit doors, so that if I get to a certain point in a story and the crowd's not feeling it, I can just jump off that and jump down to a different flow chart and go and take the joke in a different direction.
I can't ever.
So I line up all this stuff and like green cards.
It's oh my God, dude. She's got like notebook paper. She has humongous green note cards.
Yeah.
She's got scratch paper.
Because I'm a tactile learner, and so I
don't know
have
what that word means.
I have to
I've
like
never heard it.
I have to like touch it. So like I have to write it out and like feel the words, and then once I write it out a couple times, then I get it, and then it's in my head, and then I can kind of mold it to another joke I'm working on, which I've seen happen a couple times with a bunch of these bits that I've done. They don't work well independently, but they might work well with something I did last week. And having it all written down, it's almost, like I said, I can almost create like a visual flow chart. And as soon as I write it down and then I picture it in my head, I can direct my bit in relationship or in regards to how the audience is reacting.
That's pretty cool.
But it's really time consuming, and that's why I'm always trying to do new stuff at open mics, because a lot of these bits don't go together. But I'm realizing that something I said 2 weeks ago, like a random off the cuff joke, kind of like what Terese described, goes well with something I said last night. Oh, I should try those two together next week.
This is interesting because I'm like the exact opposite of you. Like the exact opposite. Are we doing like one at a time, or can I share my process now that because it is the exact opposite, and I think it's interesting. So I do like more obviously storytelling things. And when I first started, like I've lived, I think from, a lot of fucking life. I have a lot of stories, and I think a lot of things that could be funny, and
also interesting.
Yes, interesting. I think no matter what, even when I'm first starting out with a bit and it's a story and I haven't quite figured out where the punchlines are, I think people pay attention, which I think is kind of a good thing.
That's so true.
But I write, everything has to be connected. Like from beginning to end of my set, it has to like all be connected because that's just how I see things. I don't have any jokes that I can be like, oh, this is that, like, let me pull from here, and they're not short, they're longer. Most of my bits are like 3 minutes each, and then I'll tie 2 together to make, or 3 or whatever it is for how much time I have. And I just can't. And maybe someday I'll be able to do it. I can't get off of, like, everything has to be connected and has to have a theme because I think in my mind, I'm like, I want to say something with all of this, And I used to write things out word for word. But what I've done now is when I think of something, I write notes in my phone. And then if I decide I want to make a bit out of it, I'll kind of say it out loud to myself and, like, in a way, figure out where it's going and write myself, like, notes of where it goes. So it goes from here to here to here to here. And then I'll just get on stage and try to figure it out on stage. And it's actually worked better than writing it out word for word. Because when I wrote it out word for word, it was like I was acting, like reading a script and whatever. So it's very opposite of yours, but I think.
But people have different processes. It works
exactly,
for
but it's really interesting, to hear everybody's process.
When do you come up with your best material?
At night.
Yeah.
I can't, like, if I can't fall asleep, which is pretty standard.
That was my real question behind it.
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, I have trouble sleeping at night because when I lay down in bed, that's when I start thinking of everything. I do a routine in my head.
Oh yeah, that's what I do.
And I can't sleep because I'll go and I'm like, dude, that's pretty fucking funny. Like, I start off with a thought and then I just start going and I just grab my phone and do voice. I just start doing a whole fucking hour routine.
Oh my God, doing voice recording is such a good idea. Why have I been writing it down? I would remember so many more things if I just did voice that I could hear. Oh my God.
Yeah, do that.
I'm an idiot.
What I do too during the day, if I think of something, if you're going to do it, this is what I do. I just hit it and real quick, just the premise that I've got in my head, and then I just title it whatever that'll remind me of it, and then go back and listen to it.
Well, see, I feel like I think of my best things, and my mom hopefully will never listen to this because she'd be really disappointed. when I'm high is when I think of
a lot of comics do.
Great bit that I've ever had. I think has been written when I'm high, and then sometimes when I'm going to write it down, this is why. Like, obviously, I was too high to think of the voice recorder, but I'll forget. I'll be like, oh, shit, I knew I had something that was so funny 5 seconds because I'm writing,
Dude, how many times have you literally been laying in bed, you're about to fall asleep, you're like, oh, that's really funny. In the morning, I'm going to write it down. And you wake up and you have no recollection of anything that happened. And, that started bothering me so much that, dude, I have the worst trouble sleeping a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's quiet in the house. I'm finally just like, all right. Unwind, relax, totally relaxed in bed, just like about to fall asleep. And then I start going through this stupid routines. And I'm like, dude, that's kind of funny. I like what I did there.
You're like,
the crowd's really enjoying this one in my head.
They love it. Standing ovation, applause for me.
Totally. Then I get on stage.
I do that as well. Like, I'm like, oh, fuck, this shit is going to blow people's minds. Like, I'm just so convinced. And, I mean, there's stuff that I've thought of that once I get better has potential to be really, really fucking good. And I think those are probably my best ideas. But I definitely am the same. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to fucking crush everyone with my comedy dick, bitch. I'm not afraid for you guys to see what a motherfucking gangster I am, Like, I have so much confidence.
But it's a little weird you talk like that in your head. But
I don't.
I didn't know you were so thuggy.
I think that, no, obviously I'm not. But I think that sometimes when you're alone and you're high, you're like, yeah, this is going to fucking be great. And you learn differently. Like, it's obviously not that way. But I'm just commenting to that I do the same thing, that I think about it like,
yours will be the best if you voice record and wake up the next day like, what the fuck?
Oh, I've looked at my notes the next day. I have weird ass fucking notes in my phone that I'm like, I know that was supposed to be a note for a joke, but I have no fucking clue what it means.
Do you have bad jokes in your phone?
Oh, yeah.
You do? Mm-hmm. Do you have any in your notebook?
That's the only... No, I use my phone at night.
Oh, you do?
Because I don't want to wake up my boyfriend.
I want to hear him. I love this. We did this a few episodes ago, dude. It was so badly embarrassing.
Oh, God. Let me find...
Oh, I have a whole memo.
Do you?
Yeah.
So excited.
Those are all the jokes.
I
That's
said
it?
I have
Dude,
so
look
many.
Oh, well, here, this one.
I got a lot, dude. I have a lot of them.
I said this to somebody out loud, and me and this person were both high, so we thought it was really funny, but it's probably not that funny. When you're drunk and being ADD, certain levels of autism seep into your personality. I literally said
That's
that.
not bad. That's not...
This one's pretty
Wait, I
bad.
have-
The nice thing about dating a vegan is that when I go down on him, at least I know I'm eating organic. Oh, it's like the nuns used to say in Sunday school, you'll never need plan B if you stick to plan A, anal. Fat Kathy on a Segway. That's a voice one. That's a voice one. For 1 minute and 33 seconds, we're not going to listen to that. 'Cause I don't know. That talks about me on a Segway in San Francisco and Fat Kathy
shit.
from Oklahoma doing better than
I
me.
love it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears is probably the dumbest band name ever. What kind of morons name their group after the women's bathroom?
Mouth raping pizza. I embarrass the shit out of pizza. I'll bite just the tip, then spin it around and bite into the cheese-filled crust and look at it all mean-like. So as you can tell, I suck at doing drugs. ... Oh, and then I tell a story about eating mushrooms for the first time and seeing dead prominent black people on the mountain. It was like the month of February. So fucked up. But that happened the one time I was eating mushrooms. I ate pizza and
Here's one.
embarrassed it, and then saw like Frederick Douglass and like Martin Luther King Jr. And they were like in this mountain. They were just like in the
That's
Phoenix
your Mount
Mountains
Rushmore of black people?
Yeah, and I was like, this is
I mean,
awesome.
Martin Luther King should be there. I don't know. Who the
MLK
fuck's
was
guy?
there. Well, the weird thing was Kanye West was there. I don't do drugs.
Oh, I love it.
I just drank a lot of Mountain Dew that day.
I mean, I don't think mine are like actual written out jokes. They're just like
premises?
ideas for jokes, but I'll tell you those. Okay, so when I was a kid, I would walk, and actually Joe Gangemi helped me write this and said I should say it on stage. So we'll just all judge whether this is correct. When I was a kid, I used to go walk up to adults and say, "Hi, my name is Terese. Do you want to be my friend?" When I was like 4 years old, and my mom had to be like, "Please stop just walking up to strangers and grabbing their hand and saying, 'Do you want to be my friend?'" And then I was going to say, "Yeah, and now that I'm an adult, I walk up to kids and I say, 'Hi, my name is Terese. Do you want to be my friend?'" Something creepy and weird like that. And then I told him that I used to like to play with lizards when I was a kid and keep them in like Tupperware containers. He was like, "You should say you were the mother of geckos when you're a kid, like the mother of dragons."
GOT. You don't watch GOT, so you don't even
No.
I don't even know what that acronym means.
I really don't.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't watch this.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, let's do, you guys want to do some bits and then we'll break the shit down?
Yes.
All right. Who wants to go first?
I don't care.
Okay. We flipped a coin before the show started. Kerrilynn won, and she chose to go first.
As I point to her.
I picked heads, and it landed on George Washington, G-Dub, so I'm like super pumped. Okay.
GW.
GOT, right? Yeah.
Wait, are we supposed to like do a bit, or are we supposed to just be like, and then I'm like?
You can do loosely. It's however you're comfortable. You don't have to do it the way you do it on stage, because I know it's weird.
Yeah. I'll do the majority of the bit that I'm working on. I only did it once on open mic. It was okay. So I'd love to get your guys' feedback.
Okay.
Set that up really well. Listen, I know you guys are probably all thinking what I'm thinking, that the state of this world is pretty much in disrepair. We've got ISIS in the Middle East, Boko Haram in Africa. Our education system here in the States is like pretty much going to shit. And Kevin, you know, like you've got a kid. Like it's rough. It's never been harder for the poorest communities to try and get up to the middle class. We've got dentists shooting lions in the face. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but I'm sure you guys are, where you just lie awake at night and are just like, why, God? Why can't Sugar Ray just go back on tour? And if they did, like, what city would they kick off their tour? And would Mark McGrath frost his tips? Are all the band members even still alive? Like, I don't know. Maybe a dentist shot one of them in the face. Like, I don't know. But that is the one thought that consumes my very large brain. And I do have a pretty big brain. I went to Harvard. Well, the Harvard of Tempe, Arizona State. And so if I ever drift off in conversation, just know I'm thinking about Sugar Ray, the band. Or there's a very strong probability that I'm thinking about bed bugs, because I have a very strong irrational fear of bed bugs, which it's pretty easy to hate bed bugs because they reproduce at an unnatural, crazy rate. They are absolutely awful, and they bring nothing to our society. Nothing at all. They actually have a lot in common with the Duggars, because I feel the same way about the Duggars, that batshit crazy TV family from TLC. And listen, whatever the fuck Michelle Duggar is on, I'd love some, because anytime she's in an interview, it sounds like that bitch is talking to like a unicorn wearing a rainbow-colored sweater vest. She is fucking out in outer space, high-fiving Spock, chest-bumping George Clooney, high-fiving Sandy Bullock from Gravity. Listen, I want some, but I get it. After popping out 19 kids, like, your vagina must be cavernous. I would want to self-medicate too. I'd want to self-medicate the fact that my vagina is the size of a 3-car garage. I'd want to do the same. Silver lining, it's a great place to store your tax records, because you're supposed to keep hard copies for at least 7 years. And you know what's really interesting? Stephen Hawking recently studied Michelle Duggar's vagina in his spare time. I mean, it's not like the guy can go hiking or like even walk upstairs, so he's got time to do it. Apparently, it has its own gravitational pull. So even if Jim Bob Duggar fucking Alfredo's his noodle like thousands of miles away, it will find its way into Michelle Duggar's baby cannon. It's pretty amazing. It's science. It's Christianity. We should embrace it. We should love it. And I just want to say thank you so much for letting me get this Duggar shit off of my chest, which is exactly how the Duggar girls feel when their oldest brother leaves their room at 2 a.m.
Oh my God.
Woo! Good close.
And then I would go actually talk
Keep
about
going.
bed bugs.
Oh, bed bug
And then I
thing.
tie it back to like, okay, bed bugs, just like Duggars, believe in incest. And like I go into like some like fun facts about bed bugs and tie it back all together.
I loved like the train of thought that you had going, where it went from Sugar Ray to bed bugs to the fucking like. I love that. I love.
you.
I mean, I think you and I are the same a lot in the way that cutting, because we talked about this, how we want, because we're girls, we're like, oh, we have to paint this picture and explain it, and it's like people get it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
And I would say like the only thing that I would say is the first part when you start talking, like, it's sad for too long.
Okay.
Get to the Sugar Ray sooner, I think. 'Cause
Okay.
it's what I do too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have to explain this whole situation because people aren't going to get it unless I explain it.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think we
Classic
yeah,
girl
yeah,
stuff, where it's like
yeah.
we set up the joke too much, like the audience gets it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That
Well,
makes
and not
perfect
even so
sense.
that they get it, let them paint a picture in their head.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost like reading a book. I mean, people can read it and they have a different background. Everybody's got their own idea of what it looks like. You can do that to the audience as well when you're telling a story.
Yeah.
So you don't have to paint every picture for them.
Yeah.
Find the fluff, take it out.
Totally.
And
I
but that
need to
that
get
comes
that.
with doing this over and over again, and then listening back to yourself doing
Yeah.
it. Be like, yeah, that was in there. That was pointless. Doesn't
Yeah.
do anything for the story. So find those because they're in there. It's
Mm-hmm.
a long setup to start getting into your stuff. It's funny. You're hitting topics that I think everybody makes fun of to their friends, so it's super relatable.
Yeah.
My biggest question is your word choice that you use in there with a lot of descriptive stuff that you do and adjectives. Is that on purpose, Is all that stuff the same every time you tell it, or just this time it came out that way?
This time it came out that way.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, when I write everything out verbatim, I write it out once, and then I get a general idea of what I want to say, and then it morphs. So I probably was more descriptive tonight because I'm talking to a microphone, maybe. But, like, that might be...
Well, we get 10,000 listeners a week, so you just told us in front of 10,000 people.
That's amazing.
Which, by the way, thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks, guys.
But the reason why I asked really is because I felt like the word choices you used in describing right now were perfect.
Oh, great.
And so,
great.
And if you don't, then listen back to this and play it, because a lot of the words that you use as far as describing and setting up towards the end, when you're talking about the Duggars and even Sugar Ray and that kind of stuff, the descriptive words were great.
Great.
You don't want to use... you almost want to be smarter than the audience sometimes. Yeah. Not to make them feel stupid, but you don't want to keep using... Like I do. I'm an idiot. So I'm just like, great, it was great. And it's like, is there another word than great, you fucking idiot?
Yeah.
If you can use a couple different adjectives for the same kind of meaning, then it makes the comic come off so much smarter. And they're not. We're all dumber than anybody in the world. But I just felt like your word choices were great in that.
Awesome.
They were great.
Thank you, Thank you, Coach.
Fuck you.
I will definitely listen back to that because that's great feedback to have. Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool. Did you anything else for her on the bit that you thought, Terese? Because my thing is you're a woman, and so woman to woman comic in speaking. Is there anything that you
like
could tell
I
her?
said, I loved the train of thought that she had, but we had already talked about this because we like to talk about comedy and we're trying to do a lot of shows together. Like we're trying to motivate each other to like just go full
Which is
force.
dope. You guys are coming up together. That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
you want that.
Amazing, and we can talk about stuff. But like what we've both talked about is that as girls, we tend to set things up too much. Like we're like, oh, no one's gonna get it if we don't set
it's
up
like we
the
have
whole...
to talk everybody
and
through it.
I
Yeah,
know
okay, but-
sometimes I have to cut out the fat, and like.
And that's
we
what it
talked about
is.
this.
I do it because sometimes even I'll listen back to my stuff and I'm like, I didn't describe it enough. Like people got what I'm talking about, but it still needed to be at least set up more. So there's that too. You don't want to cut everything out. So then it's like, dude, leave it up to your mind. Here's the punchline.
Right.
But there's a lot of fat.
It's finding
to
a
trim.
balance, I think, between being descriptive enough and not being too descriptive. Because I've definitely gone for like 30 seconds with no laughs. Like I'm just setting this up.
Yeah, but that's
and I'll
okay.
get and I've done bits where I'll get like kind of some and then a big laugh at the end. But you have to have more punches in between. You know what I mean? But I did love like the train of thought going from one thing to another because that's kind of how I think in real life because I'm a bizarre person. And I loved it. I related to it, and I think everybody can relate to that kind of thinking as well.
And you said
It's
something
clever.
great too. If there is you want to trim the fat down in the story, but if there's stuff that you want to keep in there and it's coming off as like, I've been describing this thing for 2 minutes, and it needs to be there so that everybody gets it in the end. Then, like what Terese just said, just add a beat in there. Just add a quick punch.
Yeah.
And so it breaks the seriousness of the setup, and they remember, oh yeah, this is a joke. Yeah. And it's within the setup, and they're still having a good time listening to it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to take a note on that.
Do you need an extra piece of paper? Or do you, good. Do you have enough note
That's,
cards?
I think, what I've learned the most is to
I'm telling everybody, dude, this fucking notebook is awesome.
It is.
Vagina equals baby cannon.
And that's what you used, and it was
wrote
perfect.
it down.
It was perfect.
I think that, that's one thing is what I've kind of done too is looked back at my jokes and been like, okay, I need more punches, like at least little like rabbit
just
punches.
a quick hit.
If you're gonna get a big payoff at the end and you get it every time, just put little rabbit punches in there until you get there.
Exactly, because all right, that's another thing too. When you're describing it, you don't want to be like, what could just crush this crowd right now? That's not the point.
Yeah,
because what if it doesn't crush that crowd?
Then you
happens.
keep moving on.
Yeah.
It does happen, but you don't want it to. You just want it to be the that kind of laugh and keep going because you're getting to the part that they're gonna remember. But if you put something in there that they laugh their ass off in the middle of it, like as a comic, you feel great. Yeah. But then you're like, oh shit, Like, is the rest of this going to live up to what just happened? Do they think the story's over because I just did this? Now I got to be like, wait, there's more. You know? It's a weird position that you put yourself in. So, but that's why we tell this shit on stage every night.
Yeah.
To
You
continue to
learn
figure it out.
every time you say it out loud,
Yeah.
you learn.
But I love
sure.
it. I love it bit.
Thanks.
Where did some of that stuff come from? Was it just like random thoughts that you had, or
It all came from me writing out a probably like three pages like this. Of
Yellow.
bed
Your
bug
handwriting's
stuff.
small too.
I write so
of
big.
bed bug stuff. And from the bed bug stuff, I realized that one, nobody gives a shit about bed bugs if they're going to listen to me that long. And so just piecing together other things. So it was this huge story about bed bugs. And then I pulled out some different bits and I was like, I'm going to try and connect these and see how it goes.
I like it.
I like it too.
From a legal path.
No, I know, but who cares?
I like it. I like it. No, I think it's awesome.
It is awesome. It's cool. It's cool to see that. It's cool to see somebody that started in March really. I mean, you've done it before, but like really came into it in March, and you've got that file folder of just like shit. But you don't throw it away. It's all there for you to go back and look at.
It's awesome because
and
at
you're
some
working.
point, at some point you'll know how to write a joke. Like there's so many jokes I've thought of that I'm like, in 6 months, in a year, I'll know how to write this. It'll be really good. I'm going to save it for then. Like
what I used to do way back in the day was every morning when I'd wake up, I had a notepad, like the, what is this, a legal notepad? Is that what it looks like? So I had one of these. Or notebooks and whatever. Every morning I'd wake up, I would write a full page of whatever I thought of. Like, literally, woke up, first, I didn't even go to the bathroom yet. I would just sit up, write a full page, whatever's on my mind.
Awesome.
And then I would go back, so as eventually, later in the day, I would go back and 30 days, I would go back and read what I wrote 30 days before. So it came to a point where every morning I'm writing a whole new whatever ideas out, and then later in the afternoon, I'd look back what I wrote 30 days ago, and if there's anything I could pull from it, then I would try and make it into something. If it was relatable, anything at all, like any joke I found, and a lot of it's not. You go back and like, God, dude, I had a horrible dream that night. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But it's an exercise that people can do if they. I mean, you have to stay on it. Otherwise, if you're just half-assing it, it won't ever work. But it's just something that, like, I mean, if people are into writing, and that's the way they do it. That's one thing you can do that I learned a long time ago. So whatever, fuck off. Terese, your turn.
Okay. Kevin, do you think girls are crazy?
I think some girls are crazy. I think some guys are crazy too.
Guys think girls are crazy in general.
Okay.
Would you say that's a thing? Guys
Eventually, yeah.
Okay. And if you're wondering why that is, and why girls get so upset about it when you tell them that they're crazy, have you ever wondered that before?
Yeah.
Why they get so upset?
Uh-huh.
It's because we know we're fucking crazy, but we're only showing you 5% of the fucking crazy. 95% of it we keep inside our heads because we know it's too fucking crazy to say out loud.
That's a lot of crazy.
On the outside, we can appear like slightly crazy or moderately crazy or severely crazy. There's different categories, obviously, for girls. But on the inside, no matter how much we decide to actually say out loud, it's like a little demon turning a wheel in our head. And they're like, what kind of crazy things can I make her think today? Oh, your boyfriend's playing video games and not paying attention to you? You should sigh really annoyingly. That probably means that he has a girlfriend and he's gonna dump you for her and marry her, and their theme of their wedding is gonna be the sea, and they're gonna decorate everything with sea glass because that's your favorite. You should think about this for 3 days now. It's like when someone says to you, if you see one cockroach, there's 1,000 more behind the wall. If there's one crazy thing said to you out loud, there's 1,000 more going on inside our head at all times. Like, for example, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you, Kevin, or Kerrilynn. I mean, maybe it happened to you in a weird situation. But, you know, if you're dating a girl and in the beginning you're like, oh, fuck yeah, this girl's fucking awesome. She's so hot. She's so cool. Everything's great. Great personality. And then like 3 months in, you're like, ugh. Just gained like 10 pounds. Wearing a lot of sweatpants because the more we love you, the more we allow ourselves to let go. And you're like, she's being real fucking jealous and crazy because the more we love you, the crazier we get. And the more willing we are to show it to you. And the girl says to you, oh, I think I might be pregnant. And you think that she's crazy and she's trying to trap you in the relationship. But that's not the case from a girl's perspective. From a girl's perspective, it's like we're standing in the mirror and we're like, oh, fuck. Like my general puffiness right now is very disturbing. I've probably gained like 10 pounds. Afraid to weigh myself. Not going to do it. The clothes are getting a little tight. Being real fucking crazy. I'm probably pregnant. Because, and we know we're not. We know for a fucking fact we're not. But at that moment, we would rather believe that we might have to take care of another human being for the rest of our lives than own up to all of this shit. We would rather believe that. So, you know, then it's at the point where you're just going to own it. And you're like, oh, well, I guess I should just eat all 4 boxes of mac and cheese that are in the cupboard because I'm obviously eating for 2 now. And
I'm obviously eating for 2.
I mean, but also, like, I don't know for sure if I'm pregnant. So there's like 2 bottles of wine in the fridge. Should probably drink both of those. Like, it's not going to affect the fetus this soon. And I don't know for sure, you know? And you get a little more crazy and you're at work and you're like, fuck it. I'm just going to go on my lunch break and I'm going to get a fucking pregnancy test. I'm just going to go find out right now so I can like ease myself out of it. Like it's fine. I'll go. And then you get to the store and you're like, oh, well, I should probably it's probably too soon to tell. Like, honestly, it's probably too soon to tell. I should get the 2-pack because it might say no today, but then I have to take it again when it's like actually time for my period. Like I know it's too soon. So you go and you take it and you're like, oh yeah, not pregnant. Definitely too soon. Definitely too soon to tell. So glad I got this extra one. And then like maybe you are feeling particularly vulnerable at one moment and you tell like your real chatty friend, you're like, yeah, well, I think I might be pregnant. And she's like, oh man, I won't tell anyone. You're like, don't tell anyone. And then you meet up with your girlfriends for drinks one night and they're all like, to your chatty friend, because she's your best friend. Of course, you're always best friends with the chatty girl. They're like, oh, what's up with Terese? She's being real weird. Wearing sweatpants to a lounge in Scottsdale. Gained about 10 pounds now. What's up? And your chatty friend's like, oh, she told me not to tell you, but she thinks she might be pregnant. And they're all like, she's fucking drinking. She's drank more than all of us. She's fucking drowning herself in alcohol right now. She's going to be a fucking shitty mom. And then they all talk shit about you. And then you get your period. And you're like, oh, fuck. I'm just fat and crazy. And then you're like, oh, wait, though. It was like a day and a half late, like from my normal schedule. So I probably had an early miscarriage.
Oh, shit.
I was probably still pregnant. And you say that because then you can fucking own it for a whole nother month. You can own this persona. And a lot of girls won't say this shit out loud. I've definitely thought these things. I've never said them out loud to anybody like I described in the story, but I bet you fucking every single girl has thought this because we spend half of our lives being fucking batshit crazy. The week before our periods and on our periods, we're fucking batshit crazy and feel fat and we get puffy and we're disgusting. And the other half of our lives, we spend trying to make up for how fucking crazy we were and try to prove that we're not that crazy. So you guys all need to fucking give it up for women in the world because we're fucking strong as shit. We keep 95% of that crazy in our heads at all fucking times. You're fucking lucky we're not crazier to you. Thanks.
Drops mic off stage.
Drops mic.
Oh man, Kerrilynn, anything off the bat?
Love that bit from beginning to end because just like Terese said earlier, she tries to tie everything in together. So obviously that was one thought that went in a couple different directions but stayed along that same theme. But at the end of the day, she came back exactly where she started with saying, we keep 95% of that crazy in, and that's where she started her bit. And from beginning to end, every single person in the audience can relate to that. I can relate to it as a girl. My boyfriend last night, who was sitting behind me, totally related to it as a dude. Everybody gets it. And it's such a strong bit, and it's got so many good random punchlines in there that you're constantly engaged throughout it. And I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
It's cool, man. It's first thing for me is that it's super unique, and it's an awesome point of view from you. And you're right, Karen. I mean, it's relatable from all sides. Mm-hmm. But as a comic, if you can get the women on your side in a show, then you're winning. It's because women are the ones that are mostly in the crowds that are fucking yelling and talking and being shitty to a comedian. I mean, there's guys out there that do it too. But
Hashtag truth.
For the most part, it's women. But that it's super, super relatable, and I love the fact that it's you and it's your point of view. You're telling everybody. I can't say. I'm going to say it again because it's your point of view. It's really what comics try to do when you're telling a bit. Like, I'm going to make it funny, which you did, but I'm also going to tell you something that I'm thinking that's a legitimate topic that people think about, and this is what comes from my life, and I fucking love it, dude. It's so cool.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
I appreciate that.
A couple questions.
Yes.
Is that cockroach thing for real?
Yeah, if you see one, there's 1,000 more behind the wall.
Really?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. People say that all the time. Actually, the asshole that was texting you earlier, Michael Palladino, gave me that to add into the joke, which added another punch. Because when it's evolved a lot. When I first started telling it, it was like this broad, like...
That was my next question, so just keep going.
Yeah, it was this broad thing. And how I thought of it was... This is kind of always what I've wanted to talk about with comedy, and I think in the beginning I was a little scared to do it, and I've kind of, I think, figured out how to do it. I obviously have a lot of guy friends, and I've always hung out with guys more than girls in my whole life, so I understand how guys think, and I know how girls think because I know we're wired the way we are, and you talk to other girls and you realize that that's just how it is. And sometimes, even though I know how guys think, I can't help but get crazy about it in my head, even though I know that like a guy, even if they really like you, are like they're gonna choose jacking off to tits on the internet and playing a video game over like taking the effort to like go do something with you. You know what I mean? Like that's what all guys want. Like they just, if you could just like sit there and give them a blowjob while they're playing video. I know how they think.
That's the dream.
It has nothing to, like girls' hearts and vaginas are connected. Guys' dicks, like they can love you, but their dick doesn't really have that much to do with it. Like they want to have sex, but it's just not, you know, I get the way guys think, and I try to logically like talk myself out of stuff all the time, but I can't help having the emotions that I have sometimes and saying things that I regret. So that's kind of where it came from, but where that actual bit, because the things I tell with it go along with it, but that actual bit came from my friend Rachel was standing in her kitchen and she's like, ugh, I feel really fat and I feel really crazy. I'm probably pregnant. And she said it as a joke, but I was like, you do that too? And she was like, yes. And I'm like, because it's easier to believe that it's not your fault. And you might have to take care of another human being for the rest of your life. Then like own up to like what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And every girl
I would
I've said
add that
it
to your bit. That's
Really?
That's
yeah.
good.
Because every girl I've said it to was like, oh, fuck yeah. I always think, almost every month, because, and I didn't, this is the thing, I didn't want to tell a period joke. So I tried to like limit that, but then I got
It's
some
not a
feedback
period joke.
from guys, but honestly, every single month, period symptoms are the same as pregnancy symptoms, and you feel fucking crazy, and you don't want to be the person that you are. You might hold it together on the outside, but inside, all the time, it really is like demons are like feeding awful thoughts, and you can sometimes combat them with logic and reason, but sometimes you really can't, and it just comes out like that on a particularly hormonal month or whatever, you know? It's very, but that's where it came from, and it was something that I always wanted to talk about, was because I think if people could, I want to teach some people something as well. Like if people can understand each other better, I think the world would be a better place. So text away.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
that you ended on that. Like, the world will be a better place.
It will be a better
The
place.
world will be a
I
better
really
place.
want, like, it would be. It would be.
True. It's
People
true.
would, you know, I'm a big communicator. I'll always tell you how I feel. I understand how that most people aren't like that, but I think that, and I'm very empathetic, so I feel other people's feelings, and I understand it, but I think that, you know, if people just took the time to try and understand other people, it would make a difference in the world. And, you know,
One thing you said within the bit, you're afraid to weigh yourself because you don't want to know the number, right? And you can relate that to people, they don't want to even check their bank account because
Right.
you don't want to know the number.
Yeah,
So you just
exactly.
let it ride. You're like, I think I'm this, and that's good enough for me.
that's great.
Right?
I should add that in.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that
So
later
that's one
tonight. I
thing.
love that.
And
Write it
then
down.
the tip I had, and Kerrilynn, you can correct this because I could be completely wrong.
Okay.
As you're going through the pregnancy part of the monologue, go faster.
Yeah, you know what? People have told me that, and I should. You're right.
Because if you go off faster, it gives that, oh shit, she is crazy.
Yeah,
Like, because
exactly.
that's how guys think of a crazy girl. Like, they just talk and don't even think. When you go slow, it's like, oh, she's thinking about her next thing. But if you go fast, like, oh, she's just talking.
Yeah.
to
No,
this
that's
crazy
definitely on point.
woman.
Like, super
Yeah.
crazy, almost to the point where you're psychotic, like talking really fast. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I
Totally.
think that's kind of what, you know, and I do want people to understand that this is just me going through a scenario in my head.
Right.
Like, this is not something that I hope most girls don't say this out loud all the time. Like, I've definitely thought it.
Yeah.
I think guys go through this all the time. I think I'm pregnant
Yeah.
and all this stuff, but I think it's only, you know, certain people. But yeah, I think that's great because it's like me personifying the crazy that are in our
I would do it just at that, like, the pregnancy part where you're going to get to the part where you're like, and we keep 95%. Because
Yeah.
it's like you're building, and then it's just, you hit this crazy rant where you're just boom, 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 firing on all
Yeah.
cylinders, and then you stop and you just hit that punchline. And we're keeping that in. Like,
Yeah.
then it's like, all right, the huge payoff is holy shit.
yeah.
Because I don't know.
I think
whatever,
it's the
take it for
truth, right?
It's definitely the truth. And I think the biggest thing that obviously you can't convey in a microphone on the radio is Terese's physical comedy
Yeah.
that she brings to the stage when she does it.
She's very much an actress.
Brings us to a whole new level because as she says, like, we're bringing 90, we're only giving you 5%, we're keeping 95% contained. Like, she actually physically embodies that where she gets close to the mic and she's like, we're only giving you
Yeah.
5%.
That's why we get pissed. It's really why we
And-
get pissed
and
because
it's-
we're like, if you only knew what I had to deal with in my head every day, that's not even that crazy.
And she
but that's the
perform-
sad
she-
thing. To guys, it is
They
crazy.
don't get it. Like, and
they
you
don't
think
get
that
it.
it's
You're
like,
like,
yeah.
that's not even. You don't even know what fucking crazy
Yeah.
is, bro. Like, you don't know.
I love
You
it.
don't
Yeah.
know.
And you
Like, it
miss-
makes me. That's
you
like
miss
that's
that.
fighting words. Like, you don't even know. I deal with it in my head every day, and I don't say anything to you about it. All these, like, the video game. It's so true. I've done that so many times where I'm like, You're not paying attention to me. And then you realize later, like, you're like, oh, God, that's so embarrassing. Why did I do that? And sometimes you just can't help it. You have to just, like, let it out.
Aggressive, like.
Yeah, you just, and, like, that's what your brain, and you're like, fuck, that was dumb and embarrassing. Like, that's what I'm just trying to bring is, like, okay, girls, everybody does this. It's fine. Maybe if we were just all a little more, open. Because I don't. Like I said, we don't actually think we're pregnant. We know we're not.
Yeah,
we just want
never
to
really doubt it.
We want to
Never
help
doubt it.
ourselves get through how shitty we feel about ourselves. We feel fucking shitty. We feel like disgusting, crazy people, and we would rather be like, oh, it's the fault of this other human that's inside of me, even though we know there's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's very crazy. That's why we normally don't say 95% of the things we think out loud.
That's scary.
It's very scary.
So scary.
Imagine being a girl. I know, like, your guys' thought process is very simple. Like,
Everything is simple.
Everything is very simple, and for girls, it's very complicated, and
So
it is
glad
scary.
I'm a dude.
Right? I wish I was. Oh my God. I would kill to be a dude. I would crush some pussy all the time. Like, I would understand. If I could go right now to being trust me, I'm not like a Caitlyn Jenner opposite. I don't want to be a dude or whatever. But I do wish sometimes that I was born a dude and I could have the experience being a woman, so that I could relate to the women.
Dude, could you imagine if everyone had to flip shoes for a day? Every dude had to be a girl. Every
You guys
girl
would all be
guy.
like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Like, literally, I mean, period jokes are so stupid, but this is kind of what the basis of that is that it's always during that time of the month. And, every single month of our lives, we have, like, elves stabbing us in the uterus, and we're like, we're fucking crazy. And we can't help it.
Dude, it's awful. It would literally be, every dude would say, I'm sorry, and everyone would be like, your life is so easy.
Yeah, I
You're
wish
such
I
an
could just be like,
asshole.
oh yeah, fucking naked tits on the internet. Let me touch my own dick. Like, I wish that was my life. I wish it so bad. But instead, I'm like, oh my God. Everyone can notice the zit that I have. Like, I'm like, whatever it is. It's all stupid shit. And I'm like,
And guys are like,
God.
dude, I have a pimple. I'm going to name him. He's going to be around for a while. This is cool. It's
so
such a
different.
simple
And I
life.
get it. And I can't sometimes in my head, like, convince myself that it's real. I'm like, no, they must be thinking like me. They have all these, because girls will weave their little web. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to fucking weave their webs. That's what they do. That's what they do. And I try so hard not to do it, but, that's what.
All right, I hate to do this, but we got to wrap up. We got to
That's
get out of here.
fine.
We have a show. Thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome. This is like the first time I've been in a room with two women and I didn't get charges put on me. This is so awesome. So thank you for that.
Oh my God, thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so
You
much.
do owe me $200 for the stuff earlier. Just want to make that clear. I wasn't paying you to be on your
So
podcast.
I did get charged. All right. This isn't the first time then.
And I owe you $200.
Oh, perfect. All right, cool.
The
the
stuff
other stuff
earlier.
earlier.
You know what,
So
You know what I
I,
mean?
Terese? And
I
then,
apologize. Things got weird.
God, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
having
and
us.
everybody
It's
that's
my
listening,
favorite.
dude, if you're in Phoenix, check these girls out. They're super funny. Not as female comics, they're just comics, and they fucking crush. And every dude watches these girls and are jealous of the stuff they get to tell. So come out and see them wherever they are. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, so you can check their dates. And thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks,
Peace.
Kevin.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, you're listening to another show on the 4-Odd Radio Network. For more shows, you can go and check out 4oddradio.com. How they say?